So as far as like driving experience goes, I'd have to say that the thing that I'm actually most happy about the Jaguar is the transmission. A lot of cars, auto transmission cars, they have issues with hunting for gears. It's real common, you know. The cars that I can think of off the top of my head that I think are really bad about it is going to be the R35 GTR, the VR30 cars, the 890 Supra a little bit as well. And keep in mind, this is like completely stock. We're not talking about like a tuned car. You know, the tuning aspect makes it a lot better. But I'm comparing this into stock form. Now, what I mean by that, for those who aren't familiar, is that, you know, you're doing a certain mile per hour and you go to nail it because you got to get around a car, and it decides that, you know, we're going to downshift to 5th from 6th. We probably need a little bit more RPM, so we're going to go 5th to 4th. And then all of a sudden it'll go some like, you know, 4th to 2nd. And it's a really jostling experience. It's not the worst thing ever, but it's definitely not fun, and it really kills the driving of it. However, on this car, even though keep in mind, this is also the V6 version, it's not the big boy, but they've got this thing dialed in. I've even tested it in mid-corner. I was driving around and I was doing about 40 miles an hour, and then I went to go half throttle it, and it instantly went to the right gear. It went from 4th to 2nd, and the transition was awesome and smooth, and I absolutely loved it. So the biggest point on this vehicle for me is definitely where it shines at is, besides the little cool features and stuff like that, it definitely is the transmission programming. So the guys at Jag, you guys nailed this on the head. I haven't driven the 5-liter version, so I can't compare, but hopefully it's about the same. This car, I mean, I could go around in traffic, and even though it's really underpowered, you know, as far as the specs go, the gearing really shines. I mean, you could get around in traffic with no problems whatsoever. It knew instantly what gear to be in, and it was great. I've even had times where I would be in 6th. This is an 8-speed trans, but I would be in 6th and I would need power, and I'd go to nail it, and it would instantly go to 3rd and put me right at 5,500, you know, and it was great. So really, this transmission really shines. I think it really, even though, again, being underpowered, I think it's really transformed how this vehicle drives for me. Because at first, when I first picked it up, I did not like it at all. I mean, you can ask the other guys. I was making faces. I was just not impressed with it as far as terms of power goes. And then the moment, you know, after a day or so of actually driving it and under so many different conditions, it was something else. Now, keep in mind, I'm in a V6 Jag, and our cruising buddy here, one of them, I mean, Greg had the DB11, then you got Jacoby here, who's got the AMG GTS. So I'm most definitely the underdog in this vehicle. But it did decently well as far as cornering and stuff goes. So I really enjoyed it. I'll try to put some clips in of it actually driving.
I-15 north toward Las Vegas.
So as you guys can see, that acceleration right there, you can see it switch gears, but it does it so instantaneously that you don't even feel it in the car. I mean, obviously when it actually goes to completely downshift and get back in it, you can feel it. But as far as like the transition in between gears, it's so amazing. It allows this car, which again, I really think is super underpowered, to actually be well worth driving. The gearing is really good. It always puts you, like I said, in the right spot. I've tested it so many different ways, and I wish I had a better camera setup for you guys to see it in my overall driving. But driving this thing through the mountains, you know, of Las Vegas, which I know they aren't super aggressive. It's not Pikes Peak or anything. But, you know, you do see a little bit of cornering. And this thing always knew where to be in gearing. And I absolutely loved it. So here we are, 50 miles an hour. Whatever gear, we're coming around the corner, need to pick up speed.
Keep left at the 4th.
And there we go. It's on the way. Awesome. I love it. So another really cool feature that I really like, so this car has auto stop start, and a lot of people dislike that, right? But on the Jag, I think it's actually really good. The biggest thing about the Jag, is that it actually auto offs the ignition. So here's a switch here. If you do all these things really quickly, you can see that it actually powered off. So I can actually just open the door and go without ever having to touch the ignition switch. So one of the things that I have a dislike for on the Jaguar is actually the HVAC controls. So here we've got Android Auto running, right? So here we've got the blower motor control, and you have temperatures, dual temp left and right. But what you don't have here is the blend door control. So in order to get to the blend door control, you actually have to go back to the main menu. And so if you're using Android Auto or CarPlay, it becomes a little bit more difficult. So you've actually got to go to the main menu. You can go to the Jaguar app here, which will take you back to the main screen. And so you get here. And we still don't have blower control because you actually have to go to another menu. And then here we are. So again, you can turn it off through the button, or you can turn it off on the screen. And this feature I think is really, really slick here. So we're going to turn that on. And look at that. That's right, the vents are hidden. Now, one other thing that makes this really cool is the fact that you can actually have your defrost and the front blower and your feet on all at the same time, which is really, really interesting to me. Most cars, you know, when you have the defrost on, it only does the top and your feet, but this will do all three, which has been really nice. So in Vegas, it's been about 50 at night, so I've had the windows down with the heat on, and I can control it independently, which is really cool. But again, it's really cumbersome because you actually have to use this, the touchscreen, to get to everything. The biggest thing for me as well too is that the screen is relatively large, and trying to drive and then navigate everything is somewhat of a hassle. So here we are back to Android Auto, and like I said, as you can see, here's the two temp controls, and then we can turn it on and off here. And then let's watch this guy go back down because I think it's really fun to watch. It's going to be expensive the day that it fails though, but still really cool.